This is where I grew up. I went to school about a mile that way, Fullbrook School, and after school I'd get on my bike, my clubs were in the locker, and I started playing, I suppose, when I was 16 properly. 14 is when I got the first set of clubs, and yeah, that's where practice ground over there. I lived on there with Dave Regan, the pro at the time, just hitting ball after ball.
There we go, so it's fair to say you know this place pretty well.
Yes.
And you're going to guide me round. What was your first introduction to this club?
My uncle was a member at Guildford, and then obviously that was from where I live. I only live 5 minutes from here and always have done, and the members very kindly let me join as a junior without having a family member. And back in, you've got to remember, that was over 40 years ago. That was quite unusual. It's all changed now. They really encourage the youngsters in. But West Byfleet were really encouraging, so I've been here basically my whole golfing life.
If they hadn't let you come to the club, what do you think might have happened? Do you think that you would have gone into golf the way that you did?
Well, I'd have just been less opportunities, because I'd have to wait for my mum or stepdad to drive me over to Guildford to play. Great golf course over there, the Merrow course. But here it was a 5-minute bike ride from my house, and they gave me a locker so I could leave my clubs in the locker, and it was just really easy, and the range here is nice, and all the members were also nice over the years. It's never really changed as just a really friendly family club.
So we're going to play 5 holes, Laura, so
right.
I'll take 3 shots.
No shots. I'm an old pensioner now.
Oh, stop it. I'll try and follow you down there.
Oh, it's perfect. Sliding off the bunker.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's longer than mine.
Oh.
That's past me.
Might have got the dame, might have got the demo. What is your earliest memory playing golf?
Earliest memories probably at Corby Golf Club. My dad used to live in America, but every summer he'd come home for 3 weeks, and me and my brother would, because his family were up in Market Harbour. And Tony, my brother, was a keen golfer, so Dad used to take him out on the course there. I was probably about 12 or 13 at the time, and I just used to follow him around, causing chaos, hitting the odd putt, like a naughty 13-year-old would have done. And within 3 years, I was hooked on the game. By the time I was 16, I was ready to go. I really enjoyed just to see how much fun they were having out on the course.
Women's sport has come such a long way, particularly even in the last 5 years, but 5 to 10 years, we're seeing women's sport rising and rising, whether it's football, whether it's in the golf, athletics, tennis, you name it. But back in the 80s, 1980s, when you were kind of considering your life options, being a female professional golfer probably wasn't an obvious choice, but you went for it. Where do you think you got the courage to take a path like that in life?
Well, I just played every single sport, and like you just said, you know, football back then was non-existent, but the women's pro golf, the LET, the LPGA was established in America, but you know, that was a pipe dream, playing in America. And I just thought, well, maybe I could be good enough to go and play on the LET. It was called the WPGA back then. And so I left school at 16, like I said, and by the time I was 21, turned pro, and just had to believe in yourself. And I knew I wanted to do something in sport. When I left school, I'd signed up to do be a PE teacher in a school. I thought that's the best way. I can be outdoors, I can play every sport, which I love to do. But golf, I just became decent at it pretty quickly and came down. I think I struggled on 8 handicap for a while, but then all of a sudden it clicked. And by the time I was sort of 17, 18, working in the winter, playing amateur golf in the summer, I was off +5 eventually when I turned pro. So it was just a nice gradual, I wasn't a really good player early on, but I just gradually got better.
That was just my warm-up swing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So you say. Right, where's the pin? Right hand pin. Do you want a number? As I've outdriven you, it'll be you to play first.
Go on then, give me a number.
133. I'll just pace forward to mine. I got 128.
Okay, all right. I need some more porridge. It's just a little smooth 9 for me, that bit of help.
Smooth 9? God, I'm going with 8.
Watch me come up 20 yards short.
That's pin high.
On the green.
Pressure's on.
Yep.
Side by side.
You'll get a nice read off me
Thank
as well.
You. I'll take it.
So what influenced you to get into golf?
Tony, my brother, yeah, he was very, very keen. Decent player, played off about 6. at his best. Not quite so low now, but yeah, just playing golf with Tony and a couple of his mates up at St George's Hills on the little 9-hole. Used to go up there.
What do you think your brother thinks of your career and your life that you've had in golf?
Well, he started off, when I first got to America, he came out for the first 5 years on the LPGA, so he caddied for me, and then by then he'd had enough, so he became my manager, joint manager with Vicky coming at IMG.
Yeah.
So he's always been involved in the whole thing, so it's worked out well for both of us, I think.
That's great. All right, well listen, we've got a couple of licks at birdie here.
Yep.
And I'm first away again.
Hopefully that's a theme of the day. Not that we're competitive.
I don't think it will be. Push that, push that.
I'm going to be generous, I'll give you that.
Oh, thank you.
I don't want to see a grown woman cry over a 3-putt at the first.
How do you want the flag?
I'm going to leave it in. You know, all these people who take the flag out now, from this distance, for me it makes no difference. I like it in.
Okay. You and Adam Scott.
Yeah, exactly. If Adam's doing it, it's good enough for me. Oh, you scared me.
Oh, I think I can give you that one.
Thank you.
All right, all square.
All square.
On to
Very
the
nice.
next.
Onward and upward.
You've had such a remarkable career in golf, but I'm wondering what golf more broadly has taught you about yourself.
Well, I wish I hadn't been so angry back in the early days on tour, because you just feel like everything's against you all the time. Typical golfer, if you're in a team sport like football, cricket, any of those, you've got your teammates around you, but golf, it's all about you. So you tend to think you're the unluckiest golfer. You tend to be angry when things aren't going your way, and the quicker you can get a handle on that. So I learnt patience, I learnt not expecting too much all the time. Yeah, when you're playing well, it's going to be good, but when you're not, you know, give yourself a bit of a break. And I think I just learned, because I was quite an angry golfer back in the day. It's
right.
Because you wanted to do so well, and you didn't understand if you're a certain standard. So yeah, the game's definitely taught me how to be a bit calmer and a bit more laid back.
Were you angry like straight out the blocks, you know, coming on as a young, so early in your early 20s when you turned pro?
Yeah, well, I was probably a bit scared initially, because you just don't know what's going to happen, obviously. And then when the better I became, and it was pretty quick. I won, I think Belgium was my 5th ever pro tournament. I won that one. But then your expectations are high, so you have to learn to manage your expectations and not get too carried away. Don't take yourself too seriously, and I think I learned it quickly, but probably not quite quick enough.
The game's changed so much in the last 10, 20 and many more years. What mistakes do you see young players making now that are trying to forge a pathway in professional golf, and what advice would you have for them?
I think that because of Tiger, and you know, it was all the gym work, it was all the team around him. Everyone now, you can't all be like Tiger Woods. He's a phenomenon, and people try to, I think, to do too much, to be too perfect. Don't try and be perfect in this game. It's just not a perfect sport. You never, as soon as you think you've got the game by the throat, you're done, because it's going to take you every single time. So I think just lower expectations outwardly, but inside know exactly what you want to achieve. I knew I wanted to win tournaments, I wanted to play in America, and just find a formula that works for you. But don't get too bogged down with all the, I mean, it's going to sound mean, and all the people that are in these teams are these coaches and these mind coaches and all this. But I think some natural players out there could do without some of it.
Who are the natural players that you see out on tour now?
Well, the most natural player of all is Shane Lowry. I mean, I just love watching Shane play. He's brilliant. And in the women's game, Charlie Hull, absolute, she's a megastar. She really, her game is, she can hit any shot whenever she wants. And I don't think Charlie relies too much on, she's her own girl. She does what she wants. And that's why I love seeing players like that, because they're just a bit different. But you see Shane shaping shots, and I just, you know, it'd be nice if other players did that. But not everyone's got that natural ability, and they have to probably work a little bit harder. That's why sometimes, you know, people said, oh, it's my game, you don't practice enough. Well, you know what you need to do, and you do it. So find your own formula.
Laura, you've been involved in all the Solheim Cups since its inception, 1990, but never captain. What's the story?
I just don't fancy it. But the thing was, when my last one was the 12th one, so the 13th one would have been in Denver, and I didn't get in the team. Lotta didn't pick me, and so after that, I was kind of asked to be the captain for the one after. But I was still playing, and I still in the back of my mind thought I want to play more, so I said no, and then said no again to the one, not officially asked, but you know, through the channels was asked. And while I was still playing, I wanted to give everything to playing, because I still, although as it turns out, I didn't win again, so maybe I wasted my time. I still enjoyed trying to be a good golfer. And then now, I really wouldn't want to be the captain. I now do all the TV commentary, and you only got so many hours in the day, and if you're not going to give 100%, so it's never been where I could have given it 100%, because I've always been busy.
So it's just a timing thing?
Is it a timing thing? Do I want to do that? I love being a vice captain for Beanie, and then obviously Suzanne. Four vice captaincies on the trot, absolutely the best time ever. But to be the captain in Holland, no, I said, you know, I kind of said no to that.
Fair enough. What was the best Solheim Cup that you were involved in?
Oh, the best one has to be Dalmahoy, because we lost at Lake Nona, the very first one. We were washed out. They were World Golf Hall of Famers, all of them, LPGA Hall of Famers too, and we were just a bunch of 10 European Tour golfers that were just finding their feet. By the time we got to Dalmahoy, we were still massive underdogs. We beat them, and that to me has to be the best one by a country mile, because no one expected it, least of all us. I mean, our uniforms didn't fit, it never stopped raining. Maybe the rain helped us, because the Americans don't like rain.
Dalmahoy, just outside Edinburgh.
Yes.
Great place.
Yeah, no, that was a fun week.
Great venue.
I felt pressure from the Solheim Cup, but it was always a group thing. And the first one in Lake Nona in 1990, I think there was probably a couple of hundred people watching that, and now it's what we see, these huge grandstands around the first hole and around the 18th, all the holes on the course. It's just grown into a monster event, and it's just nice to know that, lucky enough to play, I played the first 12, and then I missed a couple in the middle, which I commentated on, so luckily I went to those two, and then I've been a vice captain the last 4 times, so it's just been a huge part.
Who have you witnessed, in your opinion, to be the most effective and inspiring captain? You know, you've been a vice a few times, but who's been the best captain? It's hard and a bit mean to single anyone out, but I have to say, when we won at Loch Lomond, Dale Reid was the captain. We call her Reid, and obviously there's Mel Reid now. And Dale, she passed away last year. She was one of my best friends on tour, but she was just she was the sort of captain I would hope I could be. Really calm, keep everyone, you know, let everyone do what they want, but with holding order. And when she spoke, you listened. But to say she's better than Beanie, better than Suzanne, who I've now spent a lot of time behind the scenes with, how hard they worked. It's hard to single anyone out, but as a player, I'd say Reedy was because I never played under the other two. I was just a vice captain with them. So yeah, I will single Reedy out as being my favourite captain. The others were great as well, mind. Yeah, I remember Katrina Matthew at Glen Eagles. That was a very special. That was 2019. Amazing. That was a phenomenal week. And Suzanne holding the winning putt as well.
Amazing.
Absolutely incredible. And we've got a lot of that to still come. More chapters to be written for the Solheim Cup. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Oh, that's gone miles.
That's quite well down there.
That has
bit of helping wind, to be fair.
Right, I'm going to have to give this a bit of something extra, I think.
I think you should.
Because I want to see if just once I can get you off the tee.
Well, if you beat that one, I'll take my hat off to you, and I'm not wearing a hat.
Okay, all right.
That's all I've got, by the way.
Right, this is my what I call my Butch Harmon swing.
It's all right. Not your best, probably. Miss that bunker, and you're fine though. Oh, that's perfect.
Hopefully that's got a bit of chase on it, but
mine pitched and stopped quickly. In my defence.
All right, they look like you said, little wedge in here.
Yeah, it's a little ridge. The thing is, because the greens are softish, I think you've got to throw it. Are you hitting the little chip and run, or are you going to chuck it on
Well,
there?
it's on the upslope, so I'm probably going to just de-loft a little bit here.
I'd shoot the top of the slope, and that's how far you want to hit it, because otherwise it'll come back.
So it's about a 55 shot there. And
have you got that thing? Because you can see my ball up there about, good 30 some yards just on the edge of the green.
Yeah, I can see that quite nicely. Difficult, awkward shot you've left yourself there, Laura.
You think? Okay, we'll find out.
That's horrible, up and down from there.
I should commentate on you.
You could if you want. That would be a treat.
She's probably going to duff this. She's got a really good lie off the upslope. Can she carry it? It's going to be short.
Oh,
Get
it's
up, get
gotta
up,
go.
get up. Oh, it's perfect. That's nice.
That's okay.
Very nice.
I thought it was going to be short as well.
I'll just walk up to mine, Iona.
Okay. Okay, Laura. See you up there.
Could take a while.
Laura, you were known for driving the ball a long way. How would you rate your short game?
I think it's always been good, the chipping side of it. Putting was always a bit streaky. I could putt in really good runs of putting, but I could always rely on my short game. This, however, nowadays this is not my favourite type of shot.
This has got duff written all over it.
Exactly, and it's it's an okay lie because I've just preferred it, but yeah, this one might not go so well. And you know what? That just comes with not playing as much and thinking too much.
Okay, let's see if you can really stand up to the pressure, Laura.
I'm thinking that the duff is a good shout.
Nice.
It was ever so slightly duffy, but do you know what? I'll take that.
Pretty decent. It's like a little bunker shot there.
Yeah, it was.
Just kind of played it like a little.
Yeah, I've ended up during lockdown. I was allowed to go and practice because still obviously playing the tour at my local other club I'm a member of at Sutton Green. They had and I completely changed my chipping, and it's really helped me, to be honest.
Why did you change it?
Because I almost had the yips, to be
Right.
honest. So I was doing some little videos in lockdown just for something to do, a bit of fun to show people on YouTube and stuff.
Yep.
And I developed this little hingy back of the stance, little pop shot, and
Okay.
it really started working well. So I kind of that's what I do now for most of my chips.
Nice. Oh, it looks good.
Oh,
Oh, right, take it away.
you would read about it.
Good effort.
So this
Thank
for the
you.
win, unfortunately.
Oh, I
have to-
absolutely smacked that.
I have to see this one. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm absolutely.
I let you off at the first, but I can't do it again.
Okay.
Oh, Iona.
I couldn't have pushed that anymore.
Iona. What a shame.
She goes one down with a three putt.
Just a three putt, but your shot in was so good as well. Such a shame. Unlucky.
That is so disappointing. Out on the LPGA and the Ladies European Tour when you were playing, who was your biggest rival?
On the LPGA, you're going to have to say Beth Daniel was when I was at my best in the mid sort of 94 through about 2000 was my absolute best playing, and I think Beth was probably just coming towards the end of her because it went in sort of levels. It was once Beth had stopped being at her best, it was Kari Webb, and then I stopped being at my best, and then Annika came along, and all of a sudden you're trying to take these top younger players on, and it became very hard. But at my very best, I just seem to remember going down the stretch with Beth Daniel more than anybody else, and fierce competitor to be fair.
You mentioned Kari Webb, she had a big impact on the game. Annika, that era, what impact do you think she had on the women's game?
Annika,
Yeah.
or Webby, yeah, Annika, well, she's simply the best player. I mean, Mickey Wright, there's so many players that have won lots and lots of tournaments. Kathy Whitworth is the record holder of 88, and not even, Tiger's getting close to it, but not past it yet. But Annika won 72 LPGA tournaments in an era when, I'm not saying there were more, but there were more golfers that at the top level back in the day, the best players were unbelievably good. So it was still hard to win. But when Annika was winning her 72 and Webby won about 42, that's incredible stuff. And that's why what Tiger's done and what Phil Mickelson's done, it's hard to win that many times. And Annika just did it and made it look easy, brought lots of young girls into the game. Paula Creamer was a huge influence on some of the younger players, not a prolific winner, but a fan favourite and just such a lovely girl. So over the years, various characters for different reasons have helped bring the youngsters, especially young girls, into the game.
You've certainly done that for the women's game. I mean, thousands of women, young and old, certainly in Britain, but all over the world, have been inspired, myself included, to get into golf and to play it and enjoy it because you were the role model and you were the inspiration. Annika, you mentioned, certainly had a huge impact on the game. Who do you think that is now in this next generation of women's golf?
I'd love to say Charlie, but she's not really as brilliant as she is and as lovely a girl as she is. She's not quite winning enough. But I'd have to put Lydia Ko
Yeah.
out there. I mean, Lydia's, what she's doing, I mean, we know she keeps saying she's not going to play that much longer, which will be a shame because she's got so much talent and wins so many tournaments. I mean, Olympic gold medals, British Opens. I think she's got a bronze, a silver and a gold in the Olympics, in the first 3 Olympics, which in golf, that's pretty unbelievable to do that. So I think young girls love watching her play. Obviously, at the moment, Nelly Corder, you know, and to a certain extent her sister, they were Jess Corder. They were great for the game, especially in America. You can see when they got to the course, there'd be a little bit of a buzz going on, and that's the way you always kind of judge it. I mean, obviously in the men's game at the moment, it's obviously Rory.
Yeah.
But on the LPGA Tour, when those girls turn up, you can tell they're there because it's a little bit of a change in the way the atmosphere is.
Yeah, Rory in the men's game, he moves the needle. Nelly, Lydia, they move the needle on the ladies' game, probably, you would say. But how important do you think that having some female real stars break into the women's game at the moment? You know, we see female stars across women's sport. Caitlin Clark in the women's basketball, Iona Mayer in the women's rugby. We could look at women's football, and you know, you've got Leah Williamson, and you know, certainly for Arsenal, and having big impacts on certain women's sports. You know, how important is that figure for the growth of women's golf right now?
Oh, it's very important because of exactly what you just said. Young kids that are watching sport, and you can see a lot of women's sport on television now, if they can't relate to a women golfer, then they'll relate to a women and they'll play football instead of golf, and that's why you need the likes of Charlie Hull, Georgia Hall. From the British, I'm looking at it from the British side of it. They want to be Charlie Hull, they want to be Georgia Hall.
Yeah.
So we do definitely need those, or we'll lose these young talents. And most people that can play golf do play a lot of other sports to a pretty high standard. So there's always going to be a choice. And at the moment, I would say if you're a young girl, your choice would probably be football because of what the Premier League does, what men's football is. The women are catching up. I mean, they'll never be parallel, and I don't even think they have to be. It's women's football is so entertaining now, and you can just see the crowds. So golf needs superstars to keep some of the great young girls in our sport. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you love your footy, Laura. What do you prefer watching on the telly, the football or the golf?
Oh, football. Liverpool, England. Yeah, there's no comparison. I mean, I do love my golf. And, you know, obviously when I'm not playing or commentating, then I'll probably be watching the golf on a Saturday and a Sunday for sure. But yeah, football is what it is for me.
Why was it Liverpool?
Back in '71, I think it was, Liverpool lost to Arsenal in the FA Cup final. They wore red. I was 6 years old, and that was good enough for me. I actually had a Chelsea kit, was my first kit, so thank God I must have got rid of that. The red of Liverpool, and you know, I go to as many games as I can. I went up to the Ipswich game the other day, so that was nice, 4-0. Really enjoyed that, and whenever I get a ticket, I'll always go. If I'm home, then I'll definitely go, but I don't miss a game, doesn't matter what time of day it is. If I'm on the course in a tournament, I'll have the radio on, I'll listen to it, so a bit of a fanatic.
Have you ever met any of the players?
Yeah, I've met quite a few. Stephen Gerrard was at the Open a few years ago, and I saw him on the putting green. He was just there, and I had to go over, and Dave Cannon, one of the golf photographers, luckily took a snap for me.
Oh, nice.
So that was nice, and I've played golf with Alan Hansen and Kenny Dalglish over the years in various pro-ams. But yeah, any time just to rub shoulders with those guys, it's just absolutely superb.
Right, so what hole have we got here, Laura?
This is the 13th, par 3 down the hill. We're off the, we're playing the purple here, 153 to the pin, but 47, a little bit of downwind. It's a lovely little hole. Okay. This is the club's favourite hole, this one.
It's beautiful.
What's the score in the match? I've forgotten.
You're 1 up, Laura.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Oh, this looks so good.
Go a yard.
Oh, for goodness sake. That's almost a gimme. But
almost.
Not quite.
I love the word almost.
Yeah. What did you hit?
I hit the 8, really solid 8.
Did you?
Yeah, not lying.
I've got my 7.
I think you can reach with the 8. It's downwind, downhill. You hit your 9-iron into the first.
Yeah.
And you know, you're not a club shorter than me for sure.
Yeah. Is this you setting me up for the water?
No. This is, if you hit a good shot, 8 is perfect.
Okay.
But I'm just going on what you did at the first. Oh, that's plenty.
Go, just a little.
Is it? That's perfect.
Yeah. Good caddying, Laura.
Am I hired?
Absolutely, you're hired.
I hit it to 6 feet and you've hit it to 5 feet. Not happy.
Looks like good to me.
Oh, I like that.
What did you like in a caddy?
Just to be a mate, really, and obviously they had to know the numbers, they had to know you. But it's more, if you're good friends with your caddy, you're off to an absolute flyer. And every caddy I ever had was either, well, brother, cousin, did the first 2 big stints in America for me. And then it was just mates I met on the tour, and you know, Johnny, Nobby, all the boys, Terry, Mundy, they've all got on to bigger and better things now. Most of them are on the men's tour now.
Terry's on the men's.
Terry's, out there on the live tour, and Mick's out there on the live tour.
Who's the best caddy you ever came across in the men's or women's game?
Well, the one that worked best with me, I mean, nothing against any of my caddies. Johnny and I just, he kind of knew exactly what I was thinking. But I had Fooch caddy for me, who obviously is caddy for Justin Rose. He was a great caddy. They're all great in different ways, to be honest with you. But as long as you get on, and because you spend, 5-6 years with the individual caddies, that's how long I used to be with my caddies, pretty much on average. So, yeah, you've got to get on well.
And it was your brother that was on the bag when you won the US Open.
Yes.
That must have been just incredible. Like today, I've got 2 brothers, so I know how special that bond can be. And I mean, what a special thing to have between the 2 of you. Yeah,
it's he wasn't my caddy at the time, but because I was going to go and see my dad who lived in America, I said to my regular caddy, it didn't go down well with Tim, unfortunately, but I said, look, Tony's coming with me, we're going to meet my dad, we're going to have a holiday, because I'm not going over there to win the US Open, I'm going over there for holiday. So my brother and my cousin Matthew, who eventually caddied for me as well, so we had a family holiday and won the US Open, so it was quite ridiculous, really. And I've got a little scrapbook thing, and there's a picture of Tony from that Sunday round when we actually won not the Sunday round, the Tuesday round, when we won the playoff. So yeah, he was a huge part of my early career.
That's amazing. And did he get the usual caddy rate?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I used to pay 10% across the board, and so he got his. What did we win that week? I think we won about $45,000. So
$45,000.
And in those days, that's a huge amount of money.
What was it, 1987?
87.
So 1987, 45 grand. That is a lot of money.
Yeah, I bought my first house on the strength of it. I mean, obviously got a mortgage, but it was enough for the down payment of my first house. So what a week.
Brilliant. Amazing. All right, it looks like it might just be you here,
It's
Laura.
definitely me.
Only just. Do you want it out?
I nearly said 10 and nearest the pin after I hit that, but yeah, I will actually.
Okay.
See, this is the length of putts I do have the pin out.
Okay. 10 or nearest the pin. Yeah, you like a cheeky gamble, don't you?
Just a cheeky one.
Yeah.
Oh. Weak.
Chances then.
Fair enough. You've got the easier putt. You won't miss this. Okay. I would give it to you, only I'm not going to.
That's fine.
Oh, you're joking.
Iona.
You hit a good putt though.
That is criminal. I really didn't think it would move that much. Oh well.
Shame that.
Still one down. Couple of pars.
Couple of rubbish putts there. Yours was easy as well.
That is shocking. Getting back to your career, your wins, you had 87, I've seen it written 88 somewhere as well, it's up for debate how many, but many victories. You're a prolific winner on tour through your career. I'm wondering, of all the victories that you had, which means the most to you?
Well, the most meaningful one was, whether it means the most to me, I'm not sure, but the US Open, because I won it as a non-member of the LPGA. And it allowed me to get my rookie season. That was in 87. I didn't have to go to the tour school, which is a minefield for any. No matter how good you are, you can blow the tour school and have to wait another year to get on the tour. But after my win at the Open, they changed the rules, and anyone that won an LPGA event as a non-member on US soil could then become a member for the next season. So you get a 1-year free pass. And luckily, my first year in '88 rookie season was pretty good. Won a couple of times, and never looked back really.
And you were just in your early 20s when you won that US Open in 87. What do you remember most about the week?
Well, it was a holiday, really. My brother came over to caddy for me. He wasn't my regular caddy at the time. He would subsequently come out to America in my rookie season the next year. My dad lived in America, so he was coming to watch and it was just a family holiday. My cousin Matthew came as well. Family holiday, just looking, maybe make the cut. That would have been a cracking week. Made the cut. Got through to the playoff on the Tuesday because we had a rain out on the Sunday, so final round Monday, 18-hole playoff on Tuesday, and came home with the trophy. So, but it was just supposed to be a family holiday.
It's a little bit more than that at the end, wasn't it? Of the wins, which was the toughest to get across the line?
The one I haven't got, the next one. My last win on the LPGA it was years ago, back in 2001 in in Rochester, New York. And then I think I won 4 times in 2010 LET events. But yeah, I never won again after that. I won the Senior US Open and stuff like that. I'd more think of the tournaments I didn't win, the Nabisco, which is now the Chevron. I never won that. I blew a couple of those. So I don't really worry about the wins because they're there, they're in the background. You move on. It's the next one. So the next one's the hardest. And be it try and win another senior event this year. I'm playing in 5 of those. It's always hard to win. I mean, people that win a lot, I suppose people think, oh, that was easy, but it's not. Getting across the line is really difficult, and it takes you to places you feel really uncomfortable. And the less you do it, like someone who's won a lot like I did, now the feeling is like I'm a rookie again. If I'm in contention, I find it really difficult.
Are you surprised that you still enjoy playing and you still long for that competitive feeling? This stage in your career, a lot of players, they get to a certain stage and they shut the door down and that's it, door closed, move on. You still love the game and you can see that in everything you do, whether it's your commentary, whether it's out having a knock today, or, are you surprised that you still love playing as much as you do?
Not really, because everything I do is competitive. If we're playing tennis or anything, you just want to win. And I think growing up with an older brother, for a younger sister, you're always trying to be, because they're obviously better than you, especially in the early days. So I've always had that competitive edge. If Mum and I were playing Countdown in the afternoon, I had to try and win. It's pathetic. But if you competitive spirit, it never leaves you. And now, the thought of playing these 5 senior events this year, and I'm playing in the 4 of the Rose Series event, Justin Rose's series, and I'm really looking forward to them. And I'm trying to win. I won't win any of them. I don't play enough. I'm not good enough anymore, probably. But just the thought of maybe winning another tournament just is brilliant. I love it.
We've heard about your brother Tony, and obviously he has had a huge impact in your life. You've been instrumental, really, in giving you that edge over other competitors. Other than your brother, you had your mum, your dad, and your stepdad. Did you have a good relationship with them all?
Oh yeah, very much so. Because obviously, when I played on the LPGA tour, it was always a base. If there was a quick turnaround in tournaments, I could always go and stay with Dad in South Carolina. My stepdad Mike, he played a little bit of golf, so we used to go and play just a little bit. Mum never played the game, but she was always there supporting, and my mum never put pressure on me. I mean, she loved me doing well, but if I didn't do well, she just couldn't care less. And the perfect family support I had around me. They all wanted me to do well, but at no stage do I ever remember feeling pressure from any of them to disappointment. I think that would be the worst thing. If you blew a tournament and they looked disappointed, that would have been the killer. And a lot of young players have that, and they have to deal with that. And it would be soul destroying. But I was lucky; I never had to deal with that.
Do you have any regrets?
Not winning the Chevron would be my biggest regret. I mean, not really. No. I mean, I maybe could have done better in some things, like I said earlier, not losing my temper so much and throwing shots away, because if we're talking about regrets on the golf course, you have to learn that quick, and the quicker the youngsters can learn it. And some of them, like a Lydia Ko, I don't think I've ever seen her angry at anything, and it hasn't always gone her way. She obviously at the moment she's on the crest of a wave, but if you can learn that, it's worth so many shots. It's like Adam Scott. The reason he's still one of the very best in the world is his attitude is second to none, and Ludwig Oberg is the next incarnation. That guy has got such a good future, not because he's a great golfer, because he's got a brilliant temperament.
Some people have that naturally calm demeanour. Lydia Ko, that you say, I don't think there's a better example in golf than Lydia Ko and the way she carries herself on the golf course. If you don't naturally have that and you're naturally just a bit more edgy, what can you do to try and become a bit calmer?
Nothing you can do. Like I say, you have to find a way that suits you. And if you're not a calm player, it's like Tyrrell Hatton. The way he carries on the golf course, you just think, oh my God, this guy's mad. But he's not, because this is the way he becomes the best he can be. We might not like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of the swearing, you might not like it. But if you take that away from Tyrrell, he won't be the great player he is. And he's got such a big future ahead of him. But you can't change people. You are what you are, and whether people like it or not, that's the way you have. If you want to be a top competitor, like all these people we keep talking about, they are.
What do you think was the biggest weakness in your game?
I would like to say putting, but every pro golfer moans about their putt, don't hold enough putts. I was a really streaky putter, but I think in my mind with the driver, my driver's always been my best club, known for hitting it a long way. But from 1991 right through to this day, I had a problem. That's why I used to build the grass tee, because I had a mental problem. So the one thing I wish I could change is that I didn't lose my nerve with that driver.
Right.
It was torturous. You know, I'd go to bed at night thinking about the first tee shot the next day, and that wears you down.
Yeah, that keep you up at night. So you went to the grass tee so you could hit down on it a bit more.
Hit down on it, squeeze it out, lose a tiny bit of distance, but at the best, when I became at my best, was during the time I was struggling with my driver, but I just had that thing on a rope. I could hit that left to right. I hit it quite high anyway, slightly lower ball flight, but feel like I wasn't going to spin out of it and hit it Oscar Bravo about 200 yards right, which was, the first one was in Farmore in the Midwest, I think, in America somewhere, and it was the Farmore Classic, I think, and I hit one off the planet and it spooked me.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day, it can be a problem if I turn up at a tee I don't fancy.
What are some of your fondest memories out here, Laura, on this golf course?
Oh, just playing with all the lady members when I was a junior, and one of the ladies, funnily enough, Joy Baker, she's died now, but she, unbeknownst to me, she kept a scrapbook of all my golf. I never knew about it until she died about 5 years ago, and her son presented me with this scrapbook.
Really?
So, yeah, playing with Joy, we used to play every Wednesday, and then she'd go and cook a roast, and her husband would come home. It was just a nice, fun golf club. All the members were really good to me. The only my name's on the board in the clubhouse is with Joy winning the ladies' 4-ball thing. And when she died, her son brought this up and he gave it to me, and it's just my career basically from probably, well, there you go, 1985. That was my rookie year. Me and Lisa Neumann set the early pace. That must have been, I don't know what tournament that was in. Oh, the Hogan Swedish Open, so on Lotta's soil. Belgium, that's when I won my first ever tournament. Davies falters with a 79, that's not a good headline, but she kept it anyway. And it's just my early career really, and she obviously, like I said, she never mentioned it, and it was just her son when she died. That was when I won the Order of Merit. That looks like Beverly Hugh and Jane Connican, the other two. Look at that, I've got a good memory, look at that. Beverly Hugh and Jane Connican.
That's amazing. And she lit the sellotape. I mean, these sellotapes.
That's 40 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just I had a little look at it last night.
So her son gave this to you? Her
son, when she died, he was clearing out the attic, and obviously it had been up there for 10 years or so, and he just thought, he didn't want it, and he brought it up to the club and gave it to the secretary, Kevin, and he passed it on to me.
Well, it must have been quite moving for you.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, really, because you just don't know that people are that invested in your career. And here's the British Open. I won £9,000, beat 1 by 4. I thought I won by 5. I won by 4 from Marta Figueres-Dotti and Peggy Connolly. So
that
it's
was
nice.
In '86.
That was the '86 Women's Open, yeah, at Birkdale.
That is absolutely amazing.
I mean, £9,000. It was like a fortune.
That is a lot in 1986.
And it just goes on and on. I think it stops sort of like the 90s. You can see my stupid haircut there. I look more like Paul Wather. Dodgy haircut, that.
That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. You look like Harry Hall.
Look like a scarecrow with that hairdo.
Davies, what does it say? Davies has game plan and words of encouragement.
There you go. Oh, Patricia Davies. She was the. Oh, that was over in America. That must have Rancho Mirage. That must have been when I played my first Nabisco tournament.
That's where they played the ANA for a while.
Yeah. That was at St. Melian. The girls and all the guys at the St. Melian threw me a party because I didn't get home till the Wednesday, and we teed it up Thursday at St. Melian in the Open. And I don't know who that might be Ali Nicholas, and she actually won that week, beat me by a shot.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening on this page.
So, yeah, it's
complete natural. That's a good way to describe your game, I would say.
That was Louine, the great Louine. She's written for the Telegraph for donkey's years.
She's still around.
Yes, she is. She's just won an award for a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, she's a brilliant writer.
Good. But yeah, there's Ali winning that week.
Ah, okay.
She had to hold that putt and she held it. Beat me by a shot.
Oh.
And she won 15,000 the next year, so the prize money went up pretty quick.
Nice outfit, Laura.
I think that was when we opened Sutton Green. I think I did a day at Sutton Green.
That is a lovely bit of leopard print.
Do you like that? I used to wear all that. I was with Marrowman at the time, and they used to always make me the fancy tops.
I love that. And this, I mean, I'm a visor gal, so I love a visor.
Yeah, I can't wear a hat. I look ridiculous in any hat.
This is cool. I think
So
the visor, this retro look is coming back around. This is kind of where we've come back to.
Yeah.
Isn't this amazing? Looks a bit like your putter that you had out today.
That is, that's what I won most of my tournaments with, that one. I had it in the bag. It's got a glass face. It was a Marrowman putter. And I've still got it at home.
And the same watch?
No, different watch.
Different watch.
Similar, very similar, but yeah.
Oh, look at this.
It's John Barnard. He was one of our friends. He was out, I think he was caddying for me that day.
That's amazing.
That's the opening of Sutton Green Golf Club, which is just up near Guildford.
Perfect. Beautiful. Some flight on that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm glad I went back to the stiff shaft.
Absolutely launched. What were you sort of hitting it off the tee carry, you know, when you were in your prime?
Probably, if we had a bunker at 260, bearing in mind it's all the old equipment, I'd always be thinking about it. So probably 255, 265 was about the range, because I always hit it very high, lots of carry. And then obviously as equipment got better and I got weaker, I kept that up for a long time. Now I don't play so much. I find I'm 235 now would be a good one, which is a bit embarrassing, but that's just, you know, that's what age does to you.
Well, I haven't got age to lean on, and 235 would be my country best. Where were the rivalries for you? Who was your biggest rival?
My brother. It was just losing to my brother was a no-no. You had to, because he was older and better. I think that's what really spurred me on in the early days, because in the summer holidays we'd play 54 holes, practice in between. We used to play a lot. So losing to Tony was never a good thing, because he let me know about it.
Advantage of having a brother.
Nothing wrong with that.
Go.
Oh, sandy bit.
Soft bounce.
Yes, that might be a fair distance in, but it's a good hole. It's really
it's a par
good hole.
4.
Par 4. On the ladies' card it's a 5, but we always play it as a 4.
Right.
And it's just a really good hole.
I read that you sort of really looked up to Freddie Couples.
Yeah.
And the swing. Why Freddie?
I just think it was his whole demeanour. He was so relaxed. He was so good. It all looked so effortless. How could you not like Freddie Couples? And when I met him, you know, they say don't meet your heroes, and I met him, and he was probably nicer than I could have imagined. So
really,
but his swing, I don't think I ever saw him get angry on a golf course.
What time did you spend with Freddie?
Well, not a huge amount of time. First time I met him was at we used to play the Wendy's 3 Tour Challenge, PGA, Senior PGA, and the LPGA. And Freddie was there, and just meeting him, and I thought, well, this guy's better than I thought. And then he invited me to Seattle to play in his 2-day proper, it's a 36-hole stroke play event, and they were all there. Arnold Palmer, Phil Mickelson. I don't think Tiger was there. That year, but basically it was a who's who of the PGA Tour and me. And then he paired me with Arnold Palmer, which was the nicest thing he could ever have done, because who doesn't love Arnold Palmer? And he said, are you okay? And I said, I'll be nervous. And to be honest with you, it brought me to my knees, because I just couldn't play. And Arnold was walking along with me, and I'll never forget it. And he could see I'd gone. I was hitting it like this. And he said, come on, just relax. You know how to play. This is Arnold. He put his arm around. I said, look, I'm playing with Arnold Palmer, Arnold. It's not easy to do. And I think I shot 84, he shot 83. So we had for me, it was the worst round of golf I've ever had in my life. But playing with Arnold, and I'll always thank Freddie for that, pairing me up with him.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
So you mentioned that, you know, you obviously do a lot of commentary. I have the pleasure of getting to work with you, certainly at least a handful of events a year. How have you found that transition from, you know, playing in the professional world? Did you always hope that, you know, you would lead to the media world?
No, I just never thought I would ever do anything but play tournament golf. I don't call it arrogance, but I was always a decent player, and I never saw an end to it, to be honest with you. So it's a bit of a shock now that I know I'm not good enough to play with these youngsters. It probably took me 4 or 5 years too long of trying to play. I mean, I nearly won in Phoenix about 5 years ago. I had a really good chance to win there, and at the time I'd have been like 55, 54, something like that. Maybe it's a little bit longer ago than that. But in my mind, I thought, well, that's why I still play, because I nearly won an LPGA tournament, although probably that was a bit of a false horizon, that I maybe was never going to reach the limits of winning again. But, you know, media was something that I did a little bit of encores for BBC on the Open. And then I did the Ryder Cup in France, and that's when I really started, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't scared of the live TV. I think if you're a decent player, you can talk about golf. It's like all these things, you know. We know what we're talking about because we can play it to a certain level. And I enjoyed working with the guys. They're absolutely brilliant, yourself and obviously all the girls, and it's just good fun.
Have you ever find it challenging, you know, being quite often the only woman in the box?
Well, they do like throw me under the bus, but I try and hold my corner, because obviously Courtney and Nick Doherty and not so much you, and Ewan's always very kind.
Yeah.
But it's just good fun, the banter you have, and you know, it's a very serious business, and obviously we're watching the very best players in the world, but I always think it's nice if you get on well with the people you're commentating with, and they've always maybe, I remember the first one was when I did it properly for Sky, I think it was down at Royal St George's. Can't even remember who won, but that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And Morikawa, exactly, yeah. And I kind of felt, oh, yeah, I like this. This is good fun. And I was lucky enough they kept me on, and I started doing, I think the first year I did probably 5 or 6, and then 3 years ago, Jason, who's obviously the golf boss at Sky, you know, gave me a 3-year deal, and you know, it's been really good fun.
Have you found it challenging? Perhaps it's challenged you in a new way, that golf obviously being your biggest challenge all life, the thing that's driven you. You know, do you feel motivated in the space of media and broadcasting?
I'd probably say no, because for me, I think people say, oh, we like your commentary, and you can't hang your hat on anything. If you shoot 75, you know you've played badly. If you shoot 65, you know you're doing well, so you can always grade yourself.
Yeah.
With commentary, as long as you don't swear, I think you're doing all right. And I don't know. Yeah, I enjoy it, like I say, but it's hard to work out if you're good or if you're not good. I mean, people say the most awful things. I don't go down that rabbit warren, but you know, you do see the odd thing, and some of your mates say, oh, they like you.
Yeah.
And, you know, they say, take her off the TV. She's ruining my fun and things like that. So I don't take that seriously, so I can't take it when people are nice about, they like probably what you've done or said, something like that.
Yeah.
You just have to get on with it.
It's
And I just don't think you can grade yourself with commentary. It is just talking.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, everyone's got a different opinion, and it is just their opinion in the end, whether they think you're the best or the worst.
Yeah.
It's still just an opinion.
Yeah, as long as that's all you ever give, and you're honest, and you don't just try and be vanilla all the time. And if someone hits a bad shot, it's a bad shot, and you should be allowed to say that. I know sometimes you hear players weren't happy about what various commentators have said, but we've had it all said about us over the years. When you've made a mess, it's just the way it is.
I guess I get to play it a little bit safer in that sense, because I'm, as the presenter, I'm not like you. I'm not the pundit that's, you know, really being encouraged and forced to have an opinion. Sometimes I have to have an opinion, but not as often as you. How exposing does that feel, especially the world now? I mean, it's very different from the 80s, 90s. I mean, phones weren't around for, thank goodness, most of my childhood, and then it was only when I was a teenager the phones came along, and now social media has just exploded. So do you feel vulnerable at all to, you know, giving those opinions and then the reaction sometimes that comes back?
Well, no, that's the reason I don't do social media at all. I mean, I've got I don't even know what they're all called, Twitter or X, whatever it is. I've got an account, but I never really tweet anything. Unless someone dies, I might tweet something nice about them. You know, that's the way I'm not interested what people think. I really don't care what they have for breakfast, and I just haven't got in. Luckily, I'm just not into this social media lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the technology, and I love the fact you can Google anything in sight, but to get wrapped up in that world would be, it'd be exhausting. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah, you're like protecting your peace.
Yeah.
Which I think is very smart.
I've just, and I'm always told, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Well, actually, no, you don't have to. I mean, I'm probably missing out. I don't do Facebook, I don't do any of that stuff. Yeah. But I don't want to get involved.
Yeah, I think that there's, well, very smart for many, many reasons. In the world, you know, we've got a lot of problems to solve now with the way social media is going, the impact it's having on young people, but for another time. Right, we've got a long way to go here.
The number, I'm going to say this is not far off 200. Oh, 188.
188 playing probably like 200.
I was going to say, it's not far off it.
I didn't bring my full set out with me. I've got a little kind of 7 wood I'm going to hit. It's not probably going to get there, but it's that or driver off the deck. And I've
got a 3 wood if you want to borrow a 3 wood. It's really nice, regular shaft.
Nah, it's
no,
fine.
You're happy.
It's okay.
It's the right height, might scoot up.
Go.
Oh, it's plenty.
Oh, go on.
Shot of your life.
Oh, get in the hole. That is the shot of my life.
That was a superb shot.
What you got?
I got 4 iron, 170, okay. About 172.
All right.
So this is all in with a 4 iron, this. And the pressure is on.
Strike.
It's got to go. It's got to go.
Oh.
Bunker.
Bunker.
Didn't quite catch it.
I didn't catch it.
No, not quite. Pressure. See?
Shot. That's brilliant. That is absolutely superb.
I'll take that one.
Little Liverpool emblem on there. Laura's a die-hard Liverpool fan. It's looking a bit tired though.
This for the win.
Yeah, I've got this for the win.
And then I've got it for the half if you don't. So You're looking good, left to right again. Yeah, good birdie. Hardest hole. Well, that was nice. Back to all square.
There we are.
Pars are no good in this school.
Oh, nice up and down. Very good. 4 though, Laura. Not good enough around here.
Thank you very much. Oh, God, you're going to dine out on that one.
Can you imagine your life without golf? What do you think it might have looked like?
Something in sport, because that's all I've ever been interested in. When I started playing golf, like I said, it was quite late compared to now. I was signed up to be a games teacher,
okay.
PE teacher, so I just knew I wanted to spend all my time outdoors playing sport, and yeah, I'd signed up to go to some sort of college, but left school at 16 in the end to pursue the golf.
Yeah.
So that was it really.
But if you think about, you know, back in the 80s, I mean, even when I turned professional, I remember I used to say to people, you know, that was like 2012, 2013, 2014. People, I'd say, I'd like to become a professional golfer. They go, oh, that's unusual. You're back in 1980, whatever. What reaction did you get from people when you said, yeah, I'm going to be a professional golfer?
Well, when I went to get signed out of school, because at 16 you had to be signed out, and I just knew there's no point carrying on. I wasn't the smartest tool in the shed. I just wanted to play sport. The headmaster said, you'll never make any money at playing golf, because back in that was so I turned pro in 85, so I left school in 1980 basically, and obviously the LET had only been going 2 years, so it was a bit of a risk, but I just knew I wanted to do something in the sports world, and that's the way I had to do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Mr. Smythe, you'll never earn any money in golf, he said.
There you are, Mr. Smythe. Hope you're watching now.
That was at the Grange School, so that's my nan, Alice, my mum, Rita, brother Tony, and me in a Chelsea kit, and the dog's called Tina.
What did you learn from your mum?
Just kindness really. Just be nice. Just treat everyone how you'd like to be treated. That was mum. She didn't have a malicious bone in her body, so yeah, no, it was good.
That's lovely.
That's me and Lisa Neumann at the Nabisco years and years ago. That was probably the first one we ever played in, so I'm going to say that was around about 86 maybe. Mm-hmm. That's me and my brother in our school picture. In those days we spoke with an American accent. That was when we first came back from America, we literally both sounded that we were called the American kids.
You're kidding.
So that was our school photo. Oh, there's one of Tony. I said that was at the US Open. So that's when we won.
Look at this, Laura.
Yeah, that's me 850, and then I restored, my first ever car was a Triumph Herald. So when I had a few quid, I decided I'm going to restore a Triumph Herald. So that probably cost me about 200 quid. It was a rust bucket.
Really?
And a local guy, he converted it. It was beautiful.
You like your cars?
Oh yeah, I do love cars. Yeah. There's Okamoto, one of the ones I beat in the playoff.
Oh yeah.
That's my second win on the LPGA. That was my favourite leaderboard. That's why I kept that, because Nancy Lopez was second.
What was your favourite venue to go to?
Nabisco, that Palm Springs course. That was the best one, yeah. So there's the family. There's cousin, I keep talking about cousin Matthew, mum Rita, brother Tony, stepdad Mike, and my father Dave. up there. That's that playing field. On that day, we won the playoff.
Are you proud, Laura, of your career and your life so far?
I think as you go on and as you don't play as good at golf and you don't play in as many tournaments, you look back and think, yeah, that was pretty good. And when you see how hard it is to win, and all right, I played in an era when we had unbelievably good players, but now it seems like we used to turn up, and I reckon when I turned up for an LPGA event, there were 30, 35 players you'd have to be worried about. The other 90, you know, they were great players, but they were never going to be a problem. Now it seems like on every tour there's, you know, 100 players that can win at any given week. So I think it's harder to win now, and that's why I look at these people who are prolific winners, like what Scotty Scheffler's doing is just unbelievable. I mean, people are comparing him to Tiger Woods, but there's no point doing that. No one's ever going to reach the levels he reached. But yeah, I think you appreciate once you've stopped playing that I did okay.
If I asked you, Laura, who taught you how to play golf, who would you say?
I'll say Seby, Langer, Woozy, watching telly. Used to watch them on telly, and then and it was limited back then. Even the men's golf wasn't on telly much, but I'd watch Sevy's short game and just the way he went about it, and then go to the range and come out here and just try and do what I'd seen them do. And Langer for his rhythm, and Woozy just for his sheer power. And that's kind of how I learned my golf. Never had a lesson. Kept it simple, really.
It's remarkable in this day and age where we get obsessed with golf coaching. I learned that one the hard way myself. But how did you keep the clarity in your own mind that you didn't need a lesson, you knew what you were doing? Because you must have had coaches along the way going, I could help you, Laura, especially times where maybe your game was struggling a bit.
Yeah, well, I remember David Lebbert, my rookie year in America, 1988, we missed the first 2 cuts in Florida, and David Ledbetter came up to my brother and said, Laura will never achieve anything unless she's got herself a coach, and gave him his card, whatever. And Tony came, bearing in mind I'd already won the US Open by then, so that's why it became an issue for me. And I think that's why I thought, no, that's the way the coaches are thinking back then. Now, I mean, I agree, you know, players that don't want to play their natural game need something, need the backup. But I always had in my head, you know, I knew what I was going to do, and if I failed, I was going to fail on my terms, and that's the way I always wanted it. But I think David, way back then, when he basically said I'd amount to nothing, that was the spur I needed, and I won 3 weeks later in Tucson.
Amazing. This day and age, there's all this technology, and people get obsessed with filming their swing and go down that rabbit hole of how aesthetically it looks. What technology did you use, if any, back in, you know, the early playing career?
Just the hands. The feedback for me was always through the hands, and I can tell if I was blind, not that you could hit a shot blindfolded, but even if I didn't see where it went, I could feel where I'd hit it. And like just back there on that forehand, I knew it was a decent shot, but I knew it was just coming up short.
Yeah.
And that was my technology. It was the feedback through the hands, and I think that's why I lasted as long as I did, because I never complicated it. And it doesn't work for everybody. I 100% realise that. But for players like myself, and I could name you a few, you know, young players, especially in the women's game, that are so naturally gifted. I hope they don't get bogged down in all the technical stuff.
Yeah, totally. Well, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to try and keep that in my mind's eye as I take the honour here.
No, you've mentioned it.
I'd just like to say, while we've got minutes, a huge thanks to West Byfleet and Kevin for having us here. We know they've got some work going on the golf course. It's an important time of year to get the work done, and they've let us come anyway, so thank you very much to them. Oh,
There's a gap there, you should be all right.
Nice high ball flight coming back to the pin.
Might need to get down, I've flushed him.
Beauty. I think that's perfect.
Oh, pretty good.
Release.
Yeah, well played.
Oh. Okay, that's all right.
You're pleased with that, aren't you?
Pressure back on you at least a little bit.
Oh, that'll work.
She's only gone and hold it. That was a peach.
What's the score now then? Is that one up, is it?
1 up with 1 to go.
Lovely.
That was a brilliant 2, got to hand it to you. 4 iron. And she holds it.
Par, that'd be a good par and all.
Oh,
well,
didn't move.
Didn't matter. You'd hold it if you had to.
Oh, absolutely. There's a question mark around longevity in the game. You know, you've managed to have a career that's long. You know, you're still playing competitively, you know, well on and into your career, and you see the likes of Adam Scott, Bernard Langer is a great example, but you know, there's a question mark around the way that golf is played now. Even in the ladies' game, it's so much about power and, you know, grinding in the gym, that perhaps the longevity won't be available for a lot of these stars of today. Do you think that's a problem?
I don't think it's a problem, because there'll always be someone else to come along. Everyone thinks, we all think when we're at the top of the game, we think we're so important, but once our light's gone out, there's always someone to come along. You know, we've lost some of the very best talent to the live, you know, John Rahm, people like that, Smith, Cam Smith, and really and truly, if they're not careful, they'll get forgotten about very, very quickly, because the likes of Ludwig, because of these young stars that come along. So although we always thought we were really important, in the grand scheme of things, it's always about the golf.
It's probably some very sound advice there. I'd like to ask you about the British Open, the Women's British Open, which we now know is the AIG Women's Open. Of course, you won it, Laura, and there's the question mark over you winning it before it became an official major.
Yeah.
Do you count that as one of your major titles?
No. Funnily enough, I won the Evian twice before. Now it's a major. I won the British Open. I think I'd have
7.
4, at least, I won 4, and I would have had at least 3. What was the other one? Another one of them changed. But no, you can't count them. They're not a major when you're playing them and winning them. Now, for me, the British Open, or the AIG Open as it is now, it's the best tournament, and it was no different when I won it. I could have felt no different back then when I won it. The candlesticks, it was not the trophy it is nowadays, but it didn't have the major tag at the time, so that's just tough luck.
You won the British Open the year before you went on to win the US Open. Did you realise, you know, the significance of those 2 wins at the time?
No, I don't think you do. I was 22 when I won the British Open, 23 when I won the US Open. And no, it was just winning tournaments at that stage. I mean, I knew the US Open was huge because it got me on the LPGA Tour, but you're not really thinking like that. As I said, I never won a tournament and thought, oh, that's brilliant. I always thought, well, where am I playing next week? Where am I playing next week? Because it was just always about the next tournament, really. Once it's in the books, you got to move on. But after you retire, then you look back and think, oh, thank God I won those tournaments. Like the one I talk about, not winning the Chevron, the Nabisco that it was, that's the one that irritates me more than any of the good things. I really find that one hard to take, because I should have won it at least once, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Who was your best friend on tour?
Well, there's few. I mean, the one I've known for the longest, Trish Johnson. I think she was 13, I was 15 when we played the English Girl. She beat me 2 up, which I still can't get over. That was at Cirencester Golf Club, we played there. Ali Nicholas for a long time was out on tour. But towards the end, like Helen Dobson, Helen Hewlett now, she's married, lives in Lincolnshire. See Helen lot, she caddies for me now and again, and Trish Johnson in the senior events. So yeah, you know, there's quite a few, and a couple of the Australian players that I don't see that much now, but they're still good mates. You're always texting. But I had lots of really good mates. But I suppose, you know, Dobbo was probably my best mate.
And on this channel, you know, we have great conversations with legends like yourself, and yeah, we're talking about the golf, but we're also trying to understand a little bit more about the person and the human side of that you take onto the golf course. It's such a personal game, and you know, as we both know, I'm very lucky to work in the game of golf and media side. You meet so many wonderful people, and you learn a lot about yourself on the way. Question that we've asked all of our guests that I have to bring to you as well is, when you meet someone, Laura, what impresses you about a person?
Just if they're kind. You can tell if people are kind, or if they're just there not really bothered if they're talking to you. You can work that out really quickly, and luckily most of the people that I consider, there's a couple I won't mention their names, but they disappoint, you know. So personally, I've always just tried to be nice to everybody. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be nice to people? And along the way, like I said, a lot of the people that I've really looked up to, Nancy Lopez, massive example. She was in the women's side of the game when I turned pro, and you wouldn't meet a nicer person. You've probably met Nancy many times yourself. But yeah, that's the thing, just the kindness of these people.
Right, I've put the pressure on myself here because I'm in the fairway bunker. So Laura's got the well advantage, but I'm going to try and put it close with my third shot so long as I get this one on the fairway.
Nothing wrong with that.
Go, go.
Probably about 170 left.
Gonna have to be a worldie. 201?
No, 233.
Oh.
So I can't resist it though, I've got to have a go. All in with a 3-wood.
Do you still love playing?
Yeah, I do things like this. I love playing, and as long as there's a little bit of competition, I don't just like playing for the sake of it. Even if I go out on my own, I'll take 2 balls and play first ball against second ball. There's got to be something on it.
Do you still play with your brother?
He hasn't played for a while. He's more of a fisherman these days.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Strike.
Bit left.
What a strike though.
I think you have the distance, just a bit left.
Yeah, good chance of a 4 now for you. Oh, the pressure's on, the pressure is on.
You've got a fairway left. I can't help it. Doesn't matter if it's a match against Iona or a Solheim Cup match, I'm always in to try and win.
Do you think that match play is kind of the purest form of golf?
I love it. Yeah, I used to love the Solheim Cup, fabulous.
Yeah.
And match play tournaments. You know, it's just different. You wouldn't want to do it every week. Because, you know, you could get tennis players, I don't know how they play against each other week in, week out. It must be hard to be friends with any of them when you're trying to knock them out of the tournament every week, which is why golf's so good, because you're playing the course and yourself normally.
All right, let's go and see what I've got.
I'm going to say 178.
Okay. Okay, 183.
183. The pin's obviously back of centre.
Yeah, and it's, well, there's not, the wind's kind of not really around anymore, but it's
my ball's just on the fringe.
Oh yeah?
Okay. Oh, it's not coming back.
Oh, well that didn't have the draw, but...
A wee bit of trouble.
Oh no. Did you ever meet Seby?
Yeah, I played with him in a TV match in Japan once. Highlight of my, well, along with playing with Arnold obviously and Jack Nicklaus. It was always in TV matches and things in Japan. We used to play a lot. I played with Woozy and Curtis Strange, but...
What year was that you played with him?
That would have been early 90s, I'm going to say, because I was with Merriman back in those days. And yeah, I was out there playing in tournaments and this TV match came up and it was Seby. So I met Seby loads of times, commentated with him a bit back in the day for the BBC at the Open.
Amazing.
And he was just the loveliest man. And he was the person I've always tried to emulate. Obviously you can't get as good as Seby, but just try and get some of his magic was what I was always trying to do.
How did you process that? You know, growing up, you said you were watching Seby and then trying to emulate what he was doing, and it sounds like he was one of the key role models in your life.
He was, definitely.
And then to find yourself kind of almost on a level playing field, well, certainly on a level playing field eventually when your playing career developed, but you know, to be there with him side by side, playing, commentating. I mean, were you just like, how?
It's just lovely. There's no other way to describe it. I'm always nervous when I'm, you know, when you're doing something new, like I was, because commentating at the BBC, I was an on-course commentator, and to be there with those guys, Sam Torrance was there, Mark James was there, and so you have to very quickly get comfortable with it, or else you're not going to enjoy it. So I tried to do that, and they're also nice. That's the thing about these guys. They're just really nice, and Seby couldn't have been nicer. He hit the best shot I've ever seen in my life in the porter cabin. He had wasn't a 60-degree wedge, but he always had his wedges there. He was always hitting shot. And there was this, I'm not kidding you, this plastic chair on the porter cabin, and he hit a shot off the hard carpet floor and landed it on the chair and stopped it. Well, the rest of us tried it, and we were pinging it around the cabin. Honestly, it's the best shot I've ever seen.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
what club did he play it with?
I think he used to have a sand wedge. I don't think he ever, even when the 60s came out, because obviously we all know he learnt with a 3-iron, and that's why his hands were so beautiful. But this shot, I've literally never seen the like of it.
That's
no one else could do it. I don't think anyway. Maybe Shane Lowry nowadays.
Yeah. And I'm wondering what impact and what legacy you hope to leave in the game of golf.
Oh, I don't worry about things like that. It's, hopefully people will look back and say she was decent, not the best, because, people like Annika Sorensen, Webby, won a lot more tournaments than I did on the LPGA. but decent player that enjoyed it and had fun. Once I got over the angry stage when I was about, probably took me till I was about 28, 29. And my caddies would tell you over the years, you know, it's you don't need an angry player. It's not fun for them, and it's really not fun for you, and it's not productive.
Pretty good.
Not dead though.
Not dead. There's still hope.
There's life.
I need a bit of Seby right now.
There you go. Just think about Seby.
Okay.
Trouble is, you've got those overhanging branches. It's not looking good.
Oh, no. Do you think that being a commentator has improved your strategy on the course?
Well, the trouble is, I don't play that much anymore, so I don't know, basically, because, you know, I'm now mainly a commentator that plays senior golf, and I'm playing in the Rose Series this year.
Yeah.
So my playing's limited, but just watching the guys play and the girls play on telly like we do,
Yeah.
it has to improve your game. It really does.
I've certainly found that, like being especially an on-course commentator, you know, watching
Yes.
them, you learn so much
Yeah,
from
I
watching.
think with you being out there with them, you would learn more than you can, because on the screens, you know, when we're in the commentary booth, you know, we're seeing what the people at home are seeing most of the time.
Yeah.
We've been out and looked at the course, so we know all the places they're hitting from, but there's still nothing like quite being there with them.
Yeah, you learn so much from. I mean, if you go and watch any golf tournament, you learn a lot from seeing them up close and personal, and see, I'm following them around. But I think these branches are okay, actually, Laura.
Oh, they are. That's a shame.
I'm going to land it high on that left knuckle,
Lovely.
and it's just going to fall down and land and
You
drop.
know this has to go in, so don't be short.
Yeah, it's got to go in.
I can't see myself through putting from there.
Okay.
Oh, it's nice. I think you landed it a yard too far.
Oh.
Pretty good, mine.
Yeah. Didn't quite get the break. I thought it might. Okay, for the 4.
Always nice to finish with a birdie, but
She gets the 4.
birdie finish.
Still got it, Laura.
I wish I did.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate.
That
Really
was brilliant.
enjoyed it.
Really enjoyed it.
Good stuff.
Let's go maybe get a little drink.
That sounds good.